Hello, happy Thursday. Way to watch your bell ringer video, or at least get it started, because from here on out, when we're doing these bell ringers, I'm going to give you super nice test taking strategies. So what that means is I'm going to show you exactly how to tackle certain types of questions and really demonstrate to you how you should be completing questions whenever you see a test, okay? Specifically that map test coming up. I know. Now, this very first one, what jumps out at us? First, we see a picture. When we see a picture, you should be hearing some bells going off in your head, some alarms. Just like that one, you should know, okay, I've got a diagram, I've got a picture. This is a good thing. This is a good thing, because whenever you have a picture or a diagram, the answer to the question is almost always going to be within that picture. And if the answer isn't in the picture is going to give you a major hint. So whenever you see a diagram or a picture, get very excited. Don't just brush it off. You're going to need it. Let's read the question. It says, the diagram shows selective breeding, where a cross between two selected corn plants produces beneficial phenotypic traits in the offspring. Okay, one thing before we even finish reading the question, one thing is selective breeding. It's been a hot second. What is it? Well, honestly, the question kind of tells you what selective breeding is, but let's break it down anyway. Selective or select means we are picking, selecting, same thing. What organisms are going to breed or reproduce. And just like the question says, we are going to pick organisms that have beneficial traits. Beneficial meaning good or positive. So we're going to pick out organisms with positive traits. And in this case, it says we are going after corn plants. Very exciting. All right, let's keep reading. It says the offspring plant is the only type grown on farms. Okay, then we have this lovely picture. Again, we're going to want to really look at it. It says, and let me zoom in here because this is really teeny tiny. Perfect. Here's a picture of a corn plant. It says it has few corn kernels, so not very many, but it is a high quality plant, meaning it is a good plant. And you are going to reproduce this corn plant with this corn plant that has many corn kernels but is a low quality plant, okay? And it's going to end up making this. So since this is what we are making, these are obviously the plants that we are shooting for here, because the whole purpose of selective breeding is to produce an organism that has traits that we like. So in this case, we're obviously really going to like this because the corn is going to have many corn kernels, meaning you get a lot of corn that you can eat off of just one ear of corn. Like think about corn on the cob. You want one with a lot of kernels, right? And it's also a high quality plant, meaning it's super good. It's not going to die out easy. It's probably going to produce a lot of ears of corn. So you are going to try to produce as many of these types of corn stalks as you can. Now, okay, we get it. What's the actual question asking us? It says, what is a negative impact of performing selective breeding in this way? Whenever we see in any type of question the word negative, if we're talking about a negative impact, we need to immediately eliminate any answers that are positive or good, okay? So let's read through each answer choice and let's eliminate any choice that is either positive, or honestly, we can also eliminate things that just really have no impact on us performing selective breeding. So A says selective breeding is a time-reducing process. Time-reducing meaning we are lowering the amount. So this is saying that selectively breeding these corn plants takes less time. I don't know about you, but I don't have all the time in the world. I've got stuff to do. So I would rather have my selective breeding, my corn farming, take less time. You don't want it to take up your whole day, right? So this would be a positive thing if it's reducing the amount of time it takes for us to grow these plants. So since this is positive, we can just get rid of it. B says selective breeding is dependent on the type of soil. This could be negative, but also you can fix this problem pretty quickly just by having that one type of soil, right? Like if I have a backyard with the type of soil that these corn stalks need, then that's not really going to get in the way of anything, is it? No. So let's go ahead and eliminate that one too. Choice C says selective breeding increases nutrients in the corn. Oof. I know that healthier food doesn't always taste better, but it is definitely better for you. So if you have a lot of good nutrients in the corn, that's not a bad thing. You're going to be nice and healthy. So that's also a positive impact. Now let's read D, make sure that it really is negative, because remember, that's what we're looking for here. Choice D says selective breeding decreases variety in a species. Okay, this I really want to make sure we get in our brain, because you're going to see this pop up in thousands of questions, literally thousands of questions. Whenever you see anything about the variety of either the species or a gene or the phenotypes, anytime you see that there is less variety in a group of organisms, we know that's going to be a bad thing. Because remember how we talked about that genetic variation? Genetic variation is a good thing. Because if they're not all identical, they are more likely to survive. And we'll talk about this more later on. We've definitely talked about this a lot this year. So genetic variation is definitely a positive thing, but if you see no variation or little variation, or like this says decreased variation, that is definitely a negative. So look for those two key phrases whenever you're picking out negative and positive impacts. Because again, whenever you see decreased variety in a species, that's always a negative, because they can easily become extinct because they don't have that variety of genes. So go ahead and put your answer, explain why it is correct, and you're good to go.